Mula sa mga fellows ay si DJ at ang unang magsasalita ng atong panelist si
Hello. Magandang hapon sa inyo. Yung workshop natin ngayon, yung HLS. Hindi ko na isa-summarize yung kwento kasi yung excerpt na nilagay dito is IT lang. Sa aking yung pagbabasa nito is, siyempre, i-highlight ko muna yung kataglado ko na siyempre, dominant yung na yung yung typical na real smooth na yung magkakasahin na nire-reflect yung reality sa ngayon. And then, yung language naman, gaan din, in a sense na natural siya sa main character. Gusto ko rin na-highlight yung parang yung uniqueness ng pagiging character niya kasi sa tingin ko, sa tingin opinion ko lang naman na may sariling unique voice si yung character to si Vince. Noticeable naman kasi yung pagiging character niya because there are moments na nakikita natin yung kanyang mga opinion niya na sa tingin ko siya lang makasabi ko tulad ng sa page niya. Yung mga flash of insights na yung parang siya lang yung makakaisip sa yung character na tulad ng Well, anyway, nevertheless, nung nakadistribute din sa yung throughout sa chapter 1 na ibig sabihin, meron yung mga moments na unique talaga sa character na I na character. Ngayon, yung mga yung parang mga yung problema ko sa sinulat niya, or at least kung yung nakita lang sa page na nakita ko, would the narrative be benefit kung meron siyang more perception? Kasi realist ko kasi ito sa aking experience na magbabasa ko ng mga realist na mga fiction. Kasi hindi siya plot driven. I would expect na yung sinasabi ni Sir Dun na yung pag may thesis ka, dapat may development sa dulo ng, at least sa dulo ng chapter, na may development na yun and it would give you some investment to read further to the next chapter hanggang sa dulo ng novela nito. Yun yung question ko sa kanya, tsaka sana yung mga canon address dito. Kailangan ba ng maraming introspection o one-liner ng introspection or hindi na kailangan ng introspection? Kasi yun na yung tanong ko sa mga realist fiction yung very, hindi naman self-absorbed, pero pag realist fiction tapos first person point of view, yung nababasa ko lang parang meron silang unique point of view na particular sa kanya. At the same time, parang may engagement siya sa world na kung saan siya nandoon. Tapos, yun na nga, pag nagbabasa tayo ng ganito, nahanap natin yung conflict. Natural naman yung conflict niya, yung pinaka-conflict niya basically, internal conflict. Meron siyang gusto, pero sa physical reality, maraming maharap sa kanya. Meron mga external conflict siya, meron siyang internal conflict. Tapos, natural sa story yung pag-andar niya, ay yung pag-move forward niya kasi makikita natin sa outline yung progression of events, nag-apply siya ng visa para maging migrante sa Amerika, and so on and so forth. Tapos yung issue na separated si mom and dad niya, ganun. Tapos another thing is, yung sinasabi dito, first chapter ko lang is, gusto daw ni Vince na i-sabotage yung interview niya. Feeling ko lang parang sa first chapter, hindi ko walang hint sa akin, or siguro guys, hindi ko na narapansin na gusto ba talaga niya i-sabotage yung kaya interview. Ang na-notice ko, na-observe ko lang the way that it was narrated, parang it's just yung parang, how should I say this, yung parang, tawag nito yung going with the flow lang siya, passive lang siya. Kasi kung sinabi na gusto niya i-sabotage, at least, yung meron akong glimpse ko lang, nasilip ko yung internal thoughts nila. Tapos siya nga mag-neglect din kayo sa sabotage ko, pero wala ko nakita ang irony na sa loob niya, I post this, pero sa mga actions niya, parang going through the motions. That's the word that I was looking for. So yung main character, is just going through the motions. At least yung nabasa ko. Pero yung nandito sa outline, sabi gusto daw may sabotage, pero it was a miserable failure. Yun yung parang hinahanap ko. And then another thing, mga suggestions ko kung tingin ko kung natapos yung episode, yung gusto ko yung bandera ko yung word, comedy. Kasi yun yung paminsan yung problema ko sa mga realist fiction, at least yung nakaraan. Yung mga realist fiction yun, ewan ko na kasi yung state of the realist fiction yung 20th century, yung panahon na natin yun, kasi nabasa ko yun noon pa. Kasi masyado silang heavy, yung nabot talaga yung mga after nung halos nag-share ko na releases, so English talaga. Pero meron naman ibang realism na yung brand ng realism nila, no? Benigida and Santos, gano'n, na yung mga conflict between yung Filipino identity pag nag-engage na siya sa global world, gano'n. Yun, mga concerns naman mga Benigida and Santos. Anyway, sinulat ko dito, as a character of irony and paradox, the the character should put yun ang description ko na what a charming siya if you were put if you magiging charming si character kung ilagay siya sa mga comedic situations na syempre that naturally arise from event. Malagay siya sa isang situation na comedy para lang ma-push para makapita yung character niya. Kumbaga, para may palabas niya yung process, yung authentic self, kumbaga. Kasi, ang hint ko lang sa pagiging character niya is, hindi daw niya sinasabi yung kagustuhan niya, pero kasi gusto instead what he does yung character is go with kung ano yung decision ng kanyang mga parents. So, magandang, at least, suggestion ko lang naman, magandang na strategy kung ilagay siya sa comedic situation para mapilit siya na ilabas yung kanyang pathetic sa through comedic situations. Kasi wala pa akong nabasa kasi na realist fiction na gumagamit ng hindi naman yung comedy na brand na bapong na comedy. Yung natural na comedy kasi dito, may mga passages dito na pag-iisipin mo nakakatawa talaga page 77. Yung observation na yung situation kasi pag nandun siya sa immigration, pag labas daw niya yung pagkatapos sa interview, pag narating daw siya sa baba, ibig sabihin, hindi successful yung interview, pag narating sa taas, successful. Failure yung isa, pag narating sa taas, successful siya. Tapos sa page 79, yung nag-usap sila ng consul, tapos pinakausap siya, sabi ni yung character, good morning. I said, showing yung neutral accent, tapos sabi naman ni consul, good afternoon. Share flight 20 out 20 May maraming potential dito na yung character, parang hindi naman siya sarcastic, pero parang meron siyang gustong maging yung typical na Pilipino na gusto lang magpatawa, gano'n. Kasi in terms of yung maging joker na peron is yung parang dinidipus kasi yung pagiging serious case. Ganun. So, what are the things that would go wrong? Yan, yung parang gusto ko isa sa kanya para yung magkaroon, maka-generate ng conflict. Kasi realistic hindi mo naman kailangan mag-generate ng isang monster para may problema doon. What are the things that could go wrong? Kasi yan masyado yung palaging iniisip ng mga comedic writers para magkaroon ng isang comedic situation. Kasi ito yung maging source ng tension within the scenes. Tapos, ito yung narrative drive to push the story forward. At the same time, merong events na mag-figure doon, lalo na yung pagkamatay ng tatay sa ito yung chapter 13. Hindi, yung na-receive yung news na patay yung 30. Ominous na talaga, chapter 30. So, ang ganda-ganda yung pag-plot din chapters 30 talaga. Para ominous yung to kasi pag abot ng chapter 13, you would expect na patay na news. So, yun lang po sa ngayon yung comment ko. Ibigay ko na kayo ng news.
afternoon, everyone. I find it very difficult to comment on a novel of which I only have one chapter, and then just the synopsis to go by. So it would be unfair to say it doesn't achieve this, it doesn't achieve that, since it has hardly had any time to do so within this chapter. So um, I think though, I will just address the questions maybe that DJ raised. For example, he said that he would expect that within that, first let me say, I think the language is good. I find that many of the stories in English that I read tend to slip where grammar and syntax are concerned. Here we find quite satisfactory use of language, and it is subtle in some places. It contains humor, as you recognize, but it's a sly kind of humor. It's quiet. Regarding the observation that nothing happens within the chapter that could lure you into reading farther, I think something does happen. He gets his visa, which was really what he wants, right? What he all doesn't want. So whatever it is, there's a change, and he acquires the visa, which is what will move him on to the next stage of the story. Regarding the observation that there are no realist writers that you are familiar with that practice, that have humor, and there's one sitting right there beside you, Charleston Ong, another one over here, Rip Hewson, although they also do non-realist fiction, of course, and in the case of Griff, the non-realist ones are even more hilarious, but he has written short stories that are very humorous, in a different manner from this one, of course. My interest actually, another observation, this is mine naman. It was a question that I raised in the earlier, in the discussion of Kat's story. I was asking about the relationship of young people now with their parents, whether they ever tell their parents anything. Going by this story, they don't. This particular character doesn't tell his parents anything, diba? He says things like, the mother wanted him to be a nurse, and he wanted to say that she was wrong about thinking that you get a good job if you're a nurse. He never says so. I don't know why. And then later the father wants him to become an engineer, and he disagrees because he hates math, but he doesn't say so. It's always like that. And then when the mother gets married, he never mentions the fact to his father. Like, only to ask, did you hear that Mama got married? Voila. So obviously there is silence is the prevailing mode between the child and his parents in this story as well. My concern is actually with how the plot is going to develop and end. Because the ending is a repetition of the American dream. Diba? He's after all his life, he has wanted to remain a Filipino. He makes a point of course I don't see this, just in the plot summary, in the summary of the scenes. He is intending to make his protagonist assert identity. And then he decides to go home for that reason. And then, it is not clear from this why he should suddenly decide that things are really better in the States. I'm not saying that it should not end that way. All I'm saying is that ending has to be earned. Like, what is it in the Philippines that disappoints him? It can't be just the death of the father. Okay, so the father is dead, and that is a source of sorrow. That also removes one reason for wanting to go home. But because there has been a build-up in the first chapter of how he even tried to sabotage his own application for a U.S. visa, and how he had no inclinations to go himself, but was just, again, going, because his parents had decided so. What is it that makes him change his mind? from the narrative, it doesn't seem to me he's such a great success in America. Although he does get a job and he does get promoted, yun na lang ba yun? So, as I said, it's unfair to judge the story by the synopsis. But my point is simply to caution the writer that if it's going to end this way, with the character deciding that for all this time, okay naman pala ang buhay ko sa Amerika, and ayoko na umuwi dito, ayoko na magtito dito sa Pilipinas, that change of mind should be earned by what happens in the rest of the book. That's all I can say for now.
I like the tone. I like the language. And this is the kind of story that I would love to read. Most still narratives are being written by Filipinos. With Phil-Ams, no? Especially based in the US. Parang konti pa lang yung halimbawa, hindi pa Phil-Am or hindi ka nakabase sa Philippines, na mostly yung doon or galing talaga sa US. Yung concern ko dito, considering na let's say this will be published next year or in the coming years, medyo actually outdated na nga sa akin yung narrative na ito ng Phil-Am. Isang possibility na tinitingnan ko with the recent developments, no, sa immigration and what's happening in the US right now, no, side by side with Philippines and the rest of the regions in the world. So I think pwedeng magandang iset na let's say 1990s ito or 2000 or otherwise it would be interesting to know yung change, no? Hanggang ngayon ba ganito pa rin yung pag-iisip ng middle class Filipino? No? So para sa akin parang marami nang nagbago, no? Na parang ako, kung babasahin ko sa context ng 21st century or lalo na in the coming years, parang medyo stereotype or very typical and therefore medyo boring na sa akin. No? So maganda siguro yung set na let's say kung 1990s ito or 2000, na yun is nakita ko. Another thing, maganda yung point kanina ni Ma'am, no? Na although hindi pa natin ma-judge, pero based sa summary, sa plot ng mga scenes, parang I think, pwede pang pag-isipan ng writer yung mga key events, no? Kasi yung ibang events dito pwede namang ma-lump together. Or talagang yung interesting na event talaga na mga scenes na nangyari. And ano yung magiging stand niya? Kung sa ngayon, in short, pwede niyang i-reframe yung current attitude, no? Or yung current plot, no? Mismo. Pero I'm interested to read more about this piece. And I like that, no? The sly humor. No? Yung tone, I think ito yung na-capture dito. No? Ano naman yun maraming nangyayari. Yung subtlety ng di ba? Yung ironies, at saka, this is how, especially lalaki yung mga characters dito. So, kapag paniwala sa akin, ano gusto ko yung ganito?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo Ma'am Jing's broad misgivings about the politics, about the implications of the seeking validation of American dream. No? On one hand, yun nga, educated na din yung opinion. No? On the other hand, whether you like it or not, when you publish something, you write something, your work will necessarily be in conversation with the other novels, the other works that have dealt with the same subject matter. So your contribution to that kind of ongoing conversation is siguro kasi merong that to me, very typical Balikbayan sentiment. No? They come to traffic and then the fact says, well, I'm sure you won't have this problem in America. The States, things work in the States because things work in the States. If I'm getting, to me, very simplistic championing of migrant life in the U.S. or how things work in the U.S. A recent work that was published is Elena Castillo's America is Not the Heart, which which is again the conversation with Carlos Buloson's America is in the heart. No? So yung ganun, it's an ongoing conversation, and I don't think you can approach that without contextualizing everything. At the risk of deadening this conversation with politics, I don't think you can approach the subject matter without taking into account the very convoluted history, between the Philippines and the US. So I would also caution the writer against some kind of potential simplistic ending, and the political implications of that. So that's my broad misgivings. I also agree. I like the voice, I like the tone. I would challenge the writer to, kasi ngayon ang structure ng chapter, the present would alternate with the past. And if it's, I would, that works, I mean, you can do that. No? I would challenge the writer to not, kasi medyo easy way out kasi yung mga kanyang section breaks. Parang when you do section breaks, you don't have to bother with transitions kasi you can completely switch subjects, switch gears. No? Usually at a certain point it becomes predictable. So, pero actually may transition ka rin naman. You're actually talking about the same thing. When you transition from the present to the past, there's actually a mode of a semblance of connection. Also, just remove the section breaks and challenge yourself. And how do you integrate all these backstory and back information without technically switching to the past? That would also create a more seamless movement. But at the same time, mas interesting sa akin. Technically speaking, mas interesting sa akin. I also echo Ma'am Jenny's misgivings also about medyo parang episodic yung chapters. I don't think there was one narrative part that connects most of them. Even aside from the journey of this protagonist. So I'm not sure if you've written any of these chapters, pero parang hindi na episodic siya. And there doesn't seem to be very organic connection among them.
I have a few comments now, like I agree with what has been said about the tone, the language, the voice, all commendable. But like Jane, I wish that there were more than 9 pages. It's very difficult to really gauge the quality of the fiction that is promised. Sana there would have been a chapter set in the US already. I think it's pretty crucial for us to recognize. Does his tone change when he gets to the States? Does his language change? Does his dialogue change? I would think that there would be some effect on it, despite the fact that in this single chapter, you do manage to succeed in convincing us that his character is very jaunty and casual, walang pakialam, ganyan. The humor is commendable. It's right up his character. And it's established very early, with the comparison between his hair and the deep fried chicken skin, or the kind of shoes that he bought, and the ones that Cops wore. Although there's one attempt at humor I don't quite agree with, the embassy thing. Touch and go. What I admire most, given this small chapter, is your non-adherence to narrative linearity. I like the shifts. And I think Glenn mentioned it also. It doesn't go straight linear. You go from present to past to present, small flashbacks. I like the shifts are particularly well executed. There is something raised in one section that propels the narrative to jump forward or to go back. Pero yun nga, sayang. Sana may example tayo nung how he was in Denver. Uh, there's also a dearth of information about the other characters. There's only his mom and his dad. His mom, so far, is a cardboard caricature. You know? The father is better, you know, better executed than the character of the father. Earned sympathy from us. You know? He seems to be a good man, earning his keep for himself and his boy. I'm glad also that you did not venture this early into the reasons behind the separation. Although obviously there is some effect of him. No? Even that is fine. No? Whatever trauma there is not stated, no? Or conveyed. Part of the silence that CJ mentioned, the silence vis-a-vis parents and parentage. So one danger that I see, given your synopsis, might be the primacy of the homoerotic relationship. It is mentioned in one of the early episodes when he's here that he seems to have a crush on someone or wants to date someone, no? But nawala yan because he had to leave already. And then he comes back and sees that guy again, but the guy already is an Occidental partner who also attracts him. Okay? But my chief worry is that towards the end, when he goes back to the US, I think he makes a stopover in Hawaii, and then he meets another guy that attracts him instantly. So parang, tama ba? This is a synopsis.
The last guy, no, never said that he meets.
Come again.
He's not correct, pero the last guy, I don't think there's mentioned.
Why is that guy mentioned at all? And parang I thought it was he becomes an added incentive in justifying his return to the U.S. Apart from the fact that his father had died already. Of course, we don't see it again in the synopsis. What motivation, to begin with, propels him to want to come back? You know, I mean, did he experience racist slurs in the U.S. or he couldn't score with anyone or something? You know, he just simply wanted to come back, and then coincidentally, before his return, he finds out that his father died. Medyo too convenient. Well, again, going back to the point, parang, it's satisfactory that in the first chapter, of course, there is no mention at all of his homosexuality. You know? Again, it's silent here. We only read about it in the outline, in the chapter outline. You know? So, well, it's hard. It's difficult to assess or evaluate how the story will work out in terms of its success as a narrative. No? We are not given enough clues, despite the fact that all we know is that he's a jaunty type of fellow. In the first chapter, also there's an absence of friends mentioned, no, or classmates or anything, any of his peers. It's just framed within the broken relationship of his dad and his mom. No? But in the outline, there are various references to the fact that he will have, or he will attempt to go for homoerotic relationships. You'll have to parang balance that or it's a challenge, imposing that theme on the inherent parang clash of cultures that you will experience, Filipino and American or Phil-American. Mahirap, parang you have to dance a tight wire. I'm saying lang in the danger of having it become so primary, in which case parang there's no need for this trans-Pacific crossings at all. We could very well have the same conflict if that becomes a primary conflict here or anywhere else, without involving any trans-Pacific crossing. That's about it. Sayang nga, sana meron kang example nung, like for instance, of course, starting with your exposition, which is in English, immediately we're in a state of suspension of disbelief, I think it was mentioned sometime yesterday about the fact that when writers in English have a local setting but use English dialogue, we just accept it, Parang it's an inherent translation already. But here, it's something caught my eye. When he's speaking with his dad, we accept it, They speak in English. But translated in English na yan, from the Filipino that you assume that they use. But, like he says, nah, wanna go home. When he says nah, and he had just come from the embassy, you wonder how much of it is already an effect of his potential to become Filipino-American. Even his last line is, yeah, That's why I want to see a chapter set in the US to see if his language changes at all, or does it become even more Americanized. That's it.
Some comments, please. Yung direct citizen to throw in some comments, please, if you don't mind. Just to answer the question that was raised in the manuscript, the term ambassador actually originates from the French ambassadeur, which means servant, and then it used to be embassy in Old English, and in the 16th century it became embassy. So that's what's supposed. Just something that stood out to me was the part there about the stepfather, like his mom getting married without his knowledge. It reminded me of a section in the book Jarhead by Anthony Swaffer. He's a Marine deployed to Saudi Arabia to support Operation Desert Storm, and he finds out through a letter that his mom got married while he was deployed. And I guess in the way that it was shown in the story, he brings up the marriage of his mother, and then immediately cuts to like a very brief flashback about finding out about the marriage and everything. Well, to me, that could maybe benefit from dwelling on it a bit longer to kind of bring in the weight and how that the gravity of that concept of his mom getting married and then not telling him, or and then how it affects him. But instead, we get a very brief flashback and a brief insight into his mind. And this excerpt, the entire thing is actually just like that. I wish that I could get more of his insight into his mind besides the quibs and as mentioned, the John B. nature. Because, like it or not, even though it is kind of lighthearted, it is kind of jovial, the situation is very serious. Like, he is going to the embassy, and if you guys are familiar, if everybody's familiar, has a good idea, the officers at the immigration visa unit in the embassy here, they're very courteous, they're polite, but they're not casual people. So I think that maybe it would be a very good opportunity to showcase his lighthearted nature against this stark, brisk background of the embassy. Like it was mentioned also a while ago, how he's trying to sabotage his interview, maybe go into that a little bit. Maybe the immigration officer would say something like, well, how about any connections you have to the Philippines? And then in his mind he'd go like, well, how about you shut up or something like that. Sorry, I can't tell you what to write. But I wish I had seen something that could provide that context. And also, especially nowadays, I'm not sure when you wrote this one, but like, especially nowadays, with MAGA, with Make America Great Again, and with all those immigration concerns, this guy just kind of breezes through it. And as you all know, that very rarely happens, and people usually have to fight to get that. And this guy, maybe he did it on purpose because maybe he wanted to display Murphy's Law, like, I want very much not to succeed, but everything goes right. Like the green stoplight scene in Meet the Parents, everything goes right, and somehow, despite my best intentions, it goes, I still managed to succeed even though I wanted to. I managed to pluck failure from the jaws, or success from the jaws of failure, and I just wish I'd seen more of that. And because we don't see that, we don't see his inner conflict, we don't see his turmoil, we don't see his resistance to this whole thing, because all we get are quips about people sticking their nose up as they walk out of the embassy. So yeah, but otherwise I enjoyed the joke and the jokes, and it used to be called the embassy.
Ako naman po may clarify lang sa chapter outline. Yung sa part na namatay yung dad niya, tapos umuwi siya, sinabi dito na yung swims through mourners and Filipino traditions for weeks and then. Ika-clarify ko lang sana kung, kasi hindi kasi naka-emphasize dun sa chapter outline. Umuwi din ba yung nanay? Kasi medyo important yun eh. Parang malaking opportunity for, di ba? For maturity yun. Kasi ako, as a Filipino, tapos sinabi mo dito, Filipino traditions, malaki yung effect ng pagkamatay ng isang kamag-anak or kakilala, kahit gaano ka pa ka-disengage sa kanya, sa sense of community natin. Minsan nga, di ba, mga bumibisita sa lamay, mga kamag-anak ni ganyan. So for me lang, parang, di ba, so wala, hindi siya hindi madi-discuss. Okay. So yun yung hinahanap ko, kasi parang, balik po tayo dun sa sabi ni Ma'am Panga na causality. Yun yung nakikita kong magiging effect ng pagkamatay. Parang magkakaroon dapat kasi yung conflict dun sa mom, tapos mababalik siguro dapat yung struggle, yung conflict na hiwalay na kayong parents niya. So, ano kaya yung magiging choice ng nanay niya? Uuwi ba siya or i-defend niya magsistay siya sa Amerika? Yun yung nakita. Yung kasi yung mga nakikita ko sa in real life kapag may hiwalay yung asawa. Yan po.
Yung nag-mix ako rito nung tatlo, comment lang ako sa yung nakasulat dito. Yung design niya, diasporic space, na ang nagawa dito, marami sa Filipino artists, yung naisulat sa yung mga OFW na uwi sa melodrama. Yung mga kaiyak-iyak, panilumbay. Dito, yung naging binago nito, yung kanyang strategy na yung tongue-in-cheek, na ang reaction mo, napapatawa pa siya o seryoso siya. So, ang nangyayari, puno-puno ng irony. So, yun yung design. And tingin ko maganda yun. Ang nabasa ko lang na nakasulat ng yung kakaibang hindi yung America's in the Heart Fair, yung American ni Kevin Kahn, yung Othering the Other, okay, ginagago mo ako, America, gagaguhin din kita. So hindi, tarantang-taranta nga, ano na yung pinag-usapan, o kwento ba to, commentary ba to, or what? Yung tongue-in-cheek na yun, kaya sabi ko magko-comment lang ako kasi yun lang yung nakasulat dito. Yung chapter na natin dito. Yung mga irony na, yung natatawa ka pero namumurot eh. Halimbawa yung kumakain kayo sa restaurant, umu-order kayo kasi tingin niyo pagkain social, hindi na naman yung pangalan. Maganda yun. O yung sasakay ka ng sasakyan, yung ikaw lang yung nakataksi na ang driver mo, tatay mo. Maganda yun. Mukhang nakakatawa, pero alam mo, kinukurot ka. Ganon din yung sa sapatos, ganon din yung huwag mong kakalimutan magpapakuha ka ng snow. Lahat na yun ay kakaiba. Na yung kaya siguro ito fresh, kaya tayo nanghihinayang. Kasi isang chapter yung pinakita na ang lakas-lakas ng potential na marami niya pang sasabihin. Kaya lang nakabitin, yung third part na hinahanap natin, wala pa. Dito yung mga inaabangan ko yun nga yung nakita na yun yung kay si Gerald. Subplot ba to? O kinokondisyon mo kami pupunta rito. Saka yung sa chapter 6, yung eventually, yung nag-aalaga sila nung kapitbahay na may sakit, obviously, na napatay, eventually, nag-adapt sila ng aso. Hindi, tatawa ba ako rito? Kasi patay na eh. Trabaho na eh. Yung twist. So, meron kang power na gano'n eh. Na hindi ako makakomment kasi hahanapin ko yun eh. So, in the end, paano mo titignan yung Amerika? Yung thesis mo kasi yung sa dulo na resist ka na maging Amerikano, tapos gagawin mo ng Filipino identity. Thesis yun. So, ano yung magaganap? Gaano pa karaming irony yung gagawin mo? Yung tinatawag, ano yung aso? Sino si Oscar? Sino si Gerard? Yung lahat na yun, ikukwento mo ba sila o i-redefine ka nila? And sa dulo, hahanapin ko na, handa ko nang balikan yung title. Ano pa yung mga lies na sinabi mo sa magulang mo? Yung tatay mo, patay na. Yung nanay mo, hindi mo naman pinakausap. Yung stepfather mo, wala namang kayong connect. So in the end, yung bang lies na to ay nationalized? Ito ba ay culturalized? Yung mga ganun eh. Pero again, tingin ko kaya. Kasi ang dami niyang commentaries na eh. Na again, nagtatanong lang ako, hindi naman din ako makaka-comment doon dahil wala pa rito.
Irony, nagustuhan ko yung smoothness ng language, smooth reach siya. So, okay, medyo entertaining naman, masarap siyang basahin. Tapos, I got excited for yung sa may part na kay Peyton Manning, Denver Broncos. Sayang eh. Kasi wala kasing sample chapter. So, pero gusto ko sana siyang mabasa. Pero may potential doon kasi one thing is, when you move to US, it's one thing. Tapos pero kapag na-entertain ka lang ng local sport, very American sport ang NFL, ang American football, syempre, tapos pag nag-root ka na dun sa mismong local team, medyo ibang level na yun eh. Okay, pwede mo siguro gawin yan kung medyo ignorant pa siya sa rules or gaano na yung level ng pagkakaalam niya o pagkakaintindi niya sa sport, mga ganun. So, sayang lang kasi hindi tayo nagkaroon chance to read it. So, I'm looking forward para doon. Tapos, pero ultimately, siguro I'm just looking then for, sabi nga ni Ma'am Jen, key events. So, highlights. So, okay. Yun lang. Thank you.
Hi, Ernie. So, I'll talk about yung first chapter. Okay. So, I like the setup, yung setting mo of your first chapter. I think it gives you a lot of opportunity to really introduce the main character. First of all, kung hindi mangyayari kung sila na hindi mangyayari in the rest of your book, kasi wala kang reason. You're not gonna get to the stage. And I think yung setting din, it gives a lot of elbow room for you to provide yung mga thoughts, yung emotions going on with the character. Maraming waiting time yan, marami siyang time multi-sift talaga. Also, I think opportunity din to use yung immigration officer as a tool for also the reader to get to know the main character. Kasi that's what the immigration officer is trying to do here. Get to know who this person is. Why should I let this person cross our border? I also agree with I like how you did the interview scene, yung alternating narratives about his mom, no? I think it gives the reader parang patikim of the relationship between the two. Parang how they're fragmented by the time, the distance, but also kept together simply because of the bond of blood and also, of course, love. Okay, so in your synopsis, you also mentioned something about losing his Filipino identity and gaining a new one. I'm very interested how you're going to show this in your succeeding chapters. Especially because yung main character natin is already 20. So he spent most of his formative years na in the Philippines. Unclear sa akin how much time passes between his immigration to the US and then yung pagbalik niya because his dad died. And does that time lapse, is it enough yung time lapse na yun to develop ano identity? Kasi nga, lumaki ka na sa Philippines, would you lose that identity kaagad just by staying in a country na reluctant ka ba na to begin with to call your new home? And again, to end on a lighter note, fact check lang to, kasi para sa akin mo na marinig at hindi sa reader na gonna make this a big thing, no? Yung kinalimutan niyang medical document, there's no chance for him to actually forget it because yung clinic that works with the immigration directly forwards it to the embassy. So wala siyang, the patients don't even get to see what's written on it. Parang may time pa nga actually immigration officer to go through it tapos ask you about what the stuff you told the doctor. If you pero really separate tayo. That's my taken.
Yung humor is there, but usually your humor is supposed to indicate something else. May tinatago siya eh. Yung tradition, yung sabinder, or meron siyang ibang sinasabi. So it's a stand. Humor is always, in fiction, humor is always opposed. Sinasabi ng iba, yung lies kasi, I was thinking, ano yung parent, like lies? It's really the lies we tell ourselves. In the end, it seems to be, kaya namin ko, kailangan ba may America? It's really a novel about identity. And who we say we are. Diba? Identity is fiction. Like, citizenship is in the end a fiction we invent. Who's American? Diba? Who's Filipino? Si Andre classified Filipino. Kung ano yung convenient eh. So then it's all lies. Ano yung lie na mas mananaig? So, pwedeng LGBT din, kasi meron, papunta rin doon, meron siyang gender, you might fall in love with this guy. So, right now, I think the author is still conflicted about ano ba yung kwento? Ano ba yung lie na gusto niyang i-explore? Ano ba yung identity niya? Does it have to do with citizenship? Or gender? Parang hindi niya pa alam, hindi mo pa alam. And I don't know kung much of this is autobiographical. Are you in this dilemma? You come back and forth to the US? Later. May confused me. So siguro kung siya ay in the end a book, novel about identity, then you have to work it out. Ano ba tayo identity na gusto mo na? Maybe yun. Parang okay.
Hi. I don't know if people already commented on the form, but like I just wanted to like just bring it up again. I like comment it because it contains something segments and narrative past and present, and the way that the form juxtaposes the juxtaposition of form is reminiscent of how what I can taught, how the tragic short story utilizes context and subtext as a technique to fully enflesh what makes the present situation so sad. And in the story, in your story, nakita ko yung how the context provided in some of the segments, coupled with the protagonist's detached tone and the fixation on the step-by-step observation of events. Like they all come together to provide this really weird tone of sadness. Like in the way, especially in the conversation with the dad, like everything, like the language was so curt. Like then yeah, it's conversation, it's casual, but then like I still felt really sad when I was reading it. Like you would expect a father and a son, especially a son who's going away, to have more emotion or something. But then that was just like, oh, you'll have fun, or you'll have fun. There was just like, yeah, I guess. Yeah. So, oh my god. And if I analyze it through the entire novel, like main preoccupation with identity part, it becomes all the more sadder because as of the first chapter, I was already introduced to a protagonist that was already detached, or at the very least critical of what he thinks is a Filipino identity, which so far only includes like yung mainit sa sweltering heat and an unjust a weird education system. That's in page 78 when he was like ranting about like, oh, we can't decide. We're being forced to decide our future when we're like 15, but like we can't do this at 15. There's that weird thing. And then so, what for the author naman, I'm interested in seeing how this kind of narration will accommodate the form once you run out of context. Because like right now, since first chapter pa lang to, you're still introducing the characters, the history of the dynamics of the family. And once you're in the States, what will you have to work with? What material will you have to work with? Because like the dynamics of the father will kind of be irrelevant. You'll have the mother, the stepfather, you know. And I'm also interested in seeing how your form will accommodate the piece's main thematic preoccupation, which is, and I quote, losing the Filipino identity and finding a new one all on his own, the protagonist's own. And I'm even interested in seeing how you plan to manifest this losing identity. Because in saying this, you would have to define what the Filipino identity is in the first place. And I haven't really seen an inkling of that in the first chapter of it.
Siguro in line with my comment earlier about yung dated, no? Yung problema tayo yung identity, Filipino identity ng anak. Na yung right now, di ba, the novel trajectory, no? Yung na-outline dito na pagpunta ka doon, you will have another identity that is magiging hybrid na siya. I think kailangan i-complicate yun, no? At talagang palalimin pa, no? Kasi dito, even sa outline dito, wala akong nakita pa narrative kung paano siya, like, for example, nag-cope. Medyo about the siligang, ano, pero mga ano yun eh, no? Mga superficial yun. Pero yung, the real narrative, di ba, yung hardships, no? So kaya, I don't know, I wonder if, yung research or yung relationship, no, personal, actual relationship mo with America, like to shuttle back and forth America, no? Kasi parang tingin ko, mag-iiba talaga yung narrative ko pag you're very familiar with, let's say, America, no? So, mostly kasi, kung susundan mo yung lumalabas na narrative, actually, kapag nandun sa America, namimiss mo yung Philippines, yung pagiging Filipino mo, And actually, you will realize the more na magiging evidence sa yung pagiging other mo, no? And yun nga, kaya interesting maraming possibilities, no? Na pwede na yung novela na ito, nalalabas na ngayon, mapasagi na talaga yung dominant concept ng Filipino ng America, ng the white America. No? Kasi sa Philippines, hanggang ngayon, marami pa rin ganun yung general perception eh. The real America, alam natin, no? Especially what's happening right now. So yung mga ganon, I think maraming dapat questions dito in terms really basic, no? What is America, anong klaseng America? Kaya nga para sa akin, very important yung time frame, no? Kung let's say 1990s ito, 2000, and therefore, ano yung mga political, economic, yung dominant, no? Na kung post, Olongapoan, yung mga ganon, no? Or post 9/11, yung gano'n, yung context niya, no? So, mas maano yun eh. And especially, di ba, na-complicate pa dito with the gender. Yung nasa Amerika pa siya, mas naging free siya, mas doon ba niya na-realize or na-accept na, yun nga, no? Gay siya dahil primarily because of, no? Yung, it's American, therefore, no? Hindi na siya actually like the Philippines yet, di ba? Maraming mga ganon. So yung sinasabi ko yung nag-blend simplification. No? So I think you really have to offer yung research, for instance. But again, of course, this is a very interesting topic not supposed to, pero ako strongly encourage that you have to do research and situate in a larger context.
Just a suggestion for something that you might want to read. It's a memoir. It's titled Writing Naked. And the author is Arnie Libranza Mejia. He's the son of a general of the Marcos base. He was an aide of, what's the name of that awful man? Bear, yes, that's right. A son of an aide of Bear. And the family had to go to America when people power happened. So it's very unusual in that respect. We get very few stories of that side of the story, you know, but it doesn't make any attempt to apologize or rationalize or anything. It's just an account of a young boy who found himself in the States with his parents in much reduced circumstances, and what he found there, both the good and the bad. So among the good was the fact that he had freedom to follow his gender preference. He fell in love and had a good relationship. But the guy died of AIDS, and he nursed this person. And then came the choice of coming home, because his parents decided to come home, no not people power na. And they found out, I guess, that they weren't going to be persecuted under Cory Aquino. They decided to come home, and he had to decide whether he wanted to come home again. So the identity, the problem is very crucial here in this story, but it is non-fiction. It's non-fiction. So it would, I think, make good research for you. Are you actually coming and going from the States? No. So you're imagining it. What it would be like to have to do that. Yeah, iba yung turista eh, di ba? Anyway, so you might try reading this. It's available because it's fairly new.
I really commend for the characters, especially Vincent's dad. I think their relationship was very clear from the beginning. So, taking off from that strength, I think also from the beginning, we need at least clues of what's at stake for Vince in terms of his identity. Because like Miguel said, we don't know what he's holding on to as a Filipino. Like, is it the comforts of living here compared to what he would give up going to the States? So I think you can take off from, I guess, the sense of class anxiety of these others when he goes to the States, where he takes, like a job in IKEA, like what's considered a lower class job here, but a regular job in the States. So you could maybe give us clues, or you could even actually, here he's an engineer, it's a respected profession, versus in the States he has to start from the beginning and all his credentials will be lost. And just an interesting point regarding in your synopsis about identity. I don't know where we don't really have much to go in terms of the what identity is being formed, but maybe you might want to consider that it's not about the loss of identity, but how his becoming an immigrant makes him more rooted in who he is, or how he finds his sense of being Filipino there. Because I noticed, well, in other nationalities when I was in the States for a very big time, they still hold on to their traditions, their food particularly. So maybe you could, maybe on the latter chapters talk about that, like how does he find a way to hold on to who he was, to keep it there? Because a lot of immigrants do that, besides the food, their festivals, their language. So, yeah.
Irene, if you interact with American people a lot, in terms of this, he tends to move to the States, right? So I guess if there would be some kind of dialogue or some kind of question about how Filipinos are, how they get along with the States and how they, yeah, okay. So, like, I hope there's a part of the story where they're like, you as a Filipino, where they kind of go with it because, as other people were saying, actually other cultures when they go to the States, they kind of double down on their own culture. So like in the U.S. Navy, there's something called the Manila Mafia because all the Filipino guys stick together, and they all share adobo recipes and stuff. And there's always those Americans that are always like, oh, sinigang, I love sinigang, adobo, that kind of stuff. But then there's also the very subtle prejudice that they have. Like, oh, be here tomorrow at 8, not 9, Filipino time, So those are other questions. Like if you're talking about Filipino identity, there's always things that we're proud to be Filipino, but there are those things that we're also very embarrassed about, or things that perhaps as Filipinos we can improve or correct, rather, especially for those in the Western culture. So, good for me.
Perhaps I get a sense that maybe the biggest lie here is that he doesn't want to go. He thinks that he wants to go, but trying to tell himself he doesn't want to go, and that's the ironic intent. Maraming ganun din. So anyway, meron po bang
Suggestion lang kasi picking up from what he said about the Denver Broncos and Manning, I think it's a very logical consequence upon his arrival in the States. That would give him the first major scene with his stepfather, who will brief him on the intricacies of football. I don't know if you've already thought of it or written about it, but apparently it calls for it. That will be how he will be oriented. Any American would love to do the same, orienting those who are not familiar with their national game. Give him a lesson or give him a briefing. It doesn't mean that they will become friends after all. So that kind of scene can lead to many options. Whether they do become friends or he still kind of brushes off the gesture, or whether he stays being casual and Filipino and says, I don't like the game at all. No, he still prefers Croatian soccer or football. Pero dated na si Manning,
That's dates. When he won.
Very briefly lang, just to add to what Jenna said. I am wondering why it's very important. So what's at stake, and why it's important for him to figure out this new identity. Maybe because, of course, we all know that it's important
for you to find and come to terms with your identity. But specifically for this character, like I didn't see, based on the chapter outline, how maybe is his not coming to terms with his new identity getting in the way of him blooming in his new environment or something. So that's the Star Cinema formula. Like you have this is the internal conflict. How do you make it more physical for the reader? Although I don't know, obviously you can get away with more internal conflict on in a novel as opposed to a movie. But I just wanted to point out maybe that can help make the finding of his identity like seem more urgent. But overall, I would like to also commend you for this piece. I really enjoyed reading it. I read it before. It has changed a little bit since the last time from our workshop before. And it's very easy to understand, but it's also embellished just enough. So very enjoyable read. And even though the issue of the diaspora and migration and everything has been discussed several times, maybe it was more groundbreaking a few decades ago. I think there is still space for a kind of work like this, especially now if you're going to set it in the present. Like I would be very curious if it was happening during this time when a lot of us probably want to leave Milan. But so why is this guy insistent on staying, and then how does he come to terms with it? So yeah. Congratulations.
I also agree with what she said. Parang ako nakukulangan ng larger motivation. Parang maganda naman yung pagkasulat, may clip, may criticism, may contours. No? Pero at the same time, parang wala naman talagang overall motivation that drives energies towards losing one's identity. I suppose that the author or the novelist should be more philosophical, I guess, approach. Yeah? But one doesn't really lose one's identity. One transforms oneself to another identity. But you cannot lose an identity without transforming into another identity. So, hindi ba know yun? What do you want to say about losing identities and transforming them? So, ano yung hope is in which the whole process, therefore the whole narrative is going to take place. No? So, and then the other point is that I do enjoy the millennial kind of treatment or the millennial kind of audience intended for this kind of novel. Which means that it's very light, it's erudite, but at the same time, ang kulang lang talaga, it's not able to grapple with larger kinds of issues pa. Parang one cannot help in these kinds of projects, writing projects, na yung nation or that yung nations mo existed prior to this character. Which means yung US at yung Philippines, meron silang intimacy na tayo, but natural sa atin lang mag-immigrate tayo. It's really the US first choice of for work, for immigration, etc. And I do not see that at this time, yung kind of social implications. Kasi one will not help but to read this story as a kind of analog of the times. It's not an exceptional story. It's a unique story that's why it's deserving of a novel treatment. But it's not a unique story. It's going to be read as something symptomatic or representative of a millennial character or identify with the US. Although mahirap gawin yung parang anti-hero siya of sorts. Kasi it's not the traditional lead character for a novel. Empathize tayo, pero it's chosen a more difficult project or vision or causes. And it's also be read along those kinds of vein itong novel mo. And dapat mas medyo, di ba pag novelist tayo, or even as writers, kaya paghandaan din natin itong mga issues na to. And you cannot say na it does not exist because it's not your project. But it's implicated in the topic or the characters you've chosen for yourself.
I think we're good. Hi, Ernie.
This project, when I started it, is really an experiment on how much I can get away with not saying. Like, how much I can tell. When if you see that in the chapter that you read, it's conversations between two people, and everything, I wanted to tell everything, not from what they're saying, but from what's not being said in between them. I guess medyo sinagat ko yung pagiging spirit, and the entire thing is going to be, like, when trying to grapple, the political side of it, I did consider that I wanted to grapple it without saying anything about it. I really appreciated na lumabas yung comedy niya kasi napakatahimik ko magkwento kahit napakaingit ng tao. I have realized that in myself, and it was pointed out to me as when I was a younger writer that my humor does not come out in my stories. So, but I like how I tell my stories, that they're very quiet. So I'm glad that the humor did come out. I'm gonna try to answer some more of the questions that was brought about. The political story that it seems to might end here, that might end in the validation of it. Vince in the first chapter is an idiot. He believes so many wrong things, and I want us to realize that slowly as we go through it. The only reason I only share the first chapter is that yung 5, 6, and 14, hindi ko hindi kasi handa enough to reflect how the first chapter is. Trying to go through my notes about other stuff. But about him being dating, he is just gay. It happens to people. They are born gay, so they're gay. It just so happens. It's not. I guess it helps yung talking with the identity stuff. Pero I didn't feel like I created Vince to be gay. Like, to help with identity. I think it just is. Like, when I started talking to the guy in my head, I hope you do that too, because if I'm the only one who does that, I have to stop. Anyway, I am so glad about all the questions you have on the first chapter, and then I'm looking up, yes.